One last thing you need to do if you go into your Blackboard again is two more things that I would ask you to do. One is make the test bank and the ZAPs and the instructor resources, make those not visible to students. We don't want them seeing those. And now that we have created a student set and it's linked to this Blackboard course, there's one quirky little thing that you have to do to make sure that the two systems communicate properly and that anything students do in the inquisitive system, if you assign those activities, gets reported back to the Blackboard gradebook. And to make sure that they can get access to the textbook, you need to go into inquisitive and just click on chapter 1. And this time, instead of being prompted to log in and go to a student set, it'll actually go right to inquisitive. Okay, now you don't have to do anything more than this. You know it's connected to the LMS, you're all good. For some reason, that's the step that you need to take in order for whatever students do in the inquisitive system to be reported back to the Blackboard gradebook. Okay, now the Blackboard gradebook at this point, if you go into the Grading Center, will still not show any information. They will not generate grade columns for those activities in the gradebook, but it will as soon as a student begins to go in and click things. So as soon as a student goes in, then there should be no problem whatsoever. Another thing that you need to do if you're going to assign any of these activities, you need to tell the system that you want it to report to the gradebook. So what you want to do is click Enable Evaluation, choose the number of points you want it to be worth, and click Submit. Actually, now when you go into the Grade Center, it might actually show up. Yes, indeed it does. Sorry. So it's not when they go into it, it's when you enable the reporting. So again, we'll go back. I'll show you that again. If you want to assign, say, inquisitive activities, you choose one of the activities that you want to do. You have to set up the activity by clicking downward arrow, and then you click Edit. And then you want to click this little box that says Enable Evaluation. Then you can enter in how many points you want that to be worth, and that's based on your whole point system that you use. And then as soon as students go in and use do the inquisitive activity that teaches them the material, you don't have to do, I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. You don't have to do anything. There's no grading for you to do. Their grade will be sent directly to the Blackboard gradebook. So now we've got inquisitive for chapter 1, and now we've got the inquisitive for chapter 2. And you can see where it says at the top, possible 10. Okay, so that's all you have to do for anything that you want to assign. The ZAPS grading works a little bit differently if you want to use that. ZAPS experiments are just completion grades. And so, again, if you wanted to include points for that, let's say that you wanted to, let's say that you're going to assign 2 or 3 of the ZAPS experiments, and you're wanting to use them for extra credit. Well, you say, well, okay, well, I'm going to offer up to 20 points of extra credit for that. The ZAPS experiments are completion grades. As long as they go through and they complete all elements of the experiment, they'll get full credit. Okay, but it will assign points based on the percentage of the ZAPS experiments completed. So let's say that you would like them to do 5 of the experiments for up to 20 points of extra credit. This is how you would go ahead and do it. You would set that up, and then you would go into the ZAPS system and you would assign any experiments that you wanted them to do. And so we have lots of different classic experiments in psychology. Student stress, the implicit association test, the Big Five personality test, all kinds of different things. And again, when students complete these items, it creates a pool of data that you can then look at as a class. Could make for an interesting discussion. I haven't used this. I'm going to use it this semester. Play with it as much as you want. All you have to do to assign it is set a due date. As soon as you set a due date for it, it'll create it. So let's say I'm going to set that for October the 19th. Oh, and you have to set a time zone, which is kind of silly, but and let's say that I want them to do the one on memory bias. And let's say narcissism. I have no idea what these are, but. And I'm just going to make that extra credit. So now because I've set up the ZAPS experiments, again, as a reminder, I've set up all the ZAPS experiments to be worth 20 points. They will get 20 points based on the number of ZAPS experiments that they completed. So let's say that I only assigned 2 and they did 1 of them, then their ZAPS grade in the Blackboard gradebook would be 10. They would get 10 points out of the 20 because they did half of the ZAPS experiments. Okay, so I set it up like that because I think it's easier to play with, and I think it's an easy way to assign extra credit. I think it's a great extra credit activity. Plus, it would give you it gives you the benefit of seeing what it's all about and deciding if you want to use it for a grade in future semesters. So that's how you set up the ZAPS. And then last but not least, just test the textbook. So click this little icon here to enter student preview mode. So now students see only what you see, so those other things kind of went away. And I'm going to click on online textbook. Psychology in Your Life. Again, it'll just go right into it, connected to LMS. And now you can click on any of the chapters, and this will be what students see. For each chapter, this is the exact same thing that you would find in the textbook. When you scroll down, it's scroll down by section, so the first couple of pages here are very short because it's just the introduction. Then you click next and it'll take you to the next section. And so you can scroll down and read the entire section, and you can see the pagination on the side here. All right. So that's about it. That should be everything that you need to get up and running. And if you have any questions, let me know.